Hey yo, what it do though? It's your bondo. Let's do it again. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm here once again with another Photoshop tutorial, and in this Photoshop tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make an iPad in Photoshop. As you can see, I'm using Photoshop CS6 Beta, and so far I am loving it. It is great. It's beautiful. I like its new interface. It's great. So aside from that, let's get started. Let's go to File, create a new document. I'm gonna set mine to 1280 by 720. And I'm gonna rename it to iPad. Let's go OK. Now, the first thing that we're gonna do for this tutorial is just make the general shape of the iPad. So our first layer is going to be just a regular shape. So let's just go to our shape tools and select around the rectangle tool. So it should be in the shape tool, along with the rectangle tool, ellipse tool, and the polygon tool. So just choose around the rectangle tool. We're gonna set its radius to 15 pixels. And just make a general shape of it, something that you feel it's the size of the iPad. So maybe about there looks good. Then I'm going to go to my move tool, select that, maybe center it a bit, select the whole document, Command Control A to select the whole document, uh, center my shape to the middle. There we go. Deselect, and because I am using Photoshop CS6, we have the new feature of adding strokes to our shape. So I'm just gonna go back into my shapes, and get rid of that stroke. So I'm just gonna select the stroke color and select none. So it's just that. And now I'm gonna change the fill color to black. Okay. Now I'm gonna set some guidelines just to give me a sense of direction, a sense of the size that the screen's going to be. So right about there looks good. Let's see how this is gonna look. Just eyeball it. There's no certain size you need to set to. Just eyeball it. And before we even do anything else, I'm going to rename this my layer to, we'll call it iPad frame. There you go. Now I'm going to go again to my shape tool, but this time I'm going to select the regular rectangle tool and just select that inner square. That the whole area is going to be our screen. So just go there and just drag out your shape, and I'll select the color of the shape, and we're gonna change it to a dark gray color. So that gray looks good, and the gray color for that is the hex value code is 383838. Hit OK, and now I'm going to rename this layer to screen. Now let's add the button. So let's go back to our shape tool, and now let's select the ellipse tool. Now let's zoom in, and now what we're gonna do is just, while dragging our circle, we're gonna hold Alt and Shift so we can start. So the circle can start opening from the middle, and so you can have a perfect shape, a perfect circle. So that looks about good. And the size for that, it's 26 by 26 pixels. You could probably go a little bit bigger. We'll set it to, let's see, 27 by 27 pixels is good. So we'll set it there. And now let's center off the image, the shape, by selecting by command and control selecting the iPad frame. And now let's go to our move tool, select the line to horizontal, and it should align it to the horizontal of the iPad frame. Now deselect it, command control D. Now we're gonna add our highlight. So let's go back into our shapes. So let's go back to our shapes. Aye! Let's go back to our shapes. And now let's choose a regular rectangle again. And just make a long rectangle. So maybe about the same size of the iPad or so, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe like that. And now let's transform it. Command and Control T. We're going to go into the edit menu and selecting free transform. But because I'm cool, I use Command and Control T. And just angle it up a bit. So maybe like that's good. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe like that. That looks fine. Now I'm going to confirm those changes. Now I'm going to change the color of that rectangle. I'm going to go with the white. And I'm going to add the blending mode. The blending mode of it is going to be, I believe it's going to be lighten. I just set it to normal, so it's going to be the same thing, so I'm just going to set it to normal. And now I'm going to lower the opacity of it down to like maybe 20% or so. I'm just going to set it to 30%. 30% looks to be good, so yeah, I'm going to set it right there, that's good. And now I'm going to add a mask to it, so just so we can get rid of this whole other area that we don't need. We're going to add that mask layer. And to do that, let's select just the iPad frame. Command and Control select. And now let's add the layer, the mask layer. So the only thing we'll be seeing is from this layer, from the highlight layer, we're gonna go into just see this. Because if I put it back, let's say I would put a black background to it, we would see, and we didn't have the mask, we would see that whole thing on the back. But because we have that that mask layer, that we won't be able to see it. So let me just go back. And now before I even do anything else, I'm gonna start renaming my stuff. So button. Over here, put highlight. Okay, that's good. Now I'm gonna go back to the button. I'm going to double click on it, and that'll bring up my layer style dialog box. I'm gonna go to gradient overlay. Select that. I'm going to, let's see, just cancel it, reverse it. Okay, go back to it. Maybe just move it down a bit. Add a drop shadow to it. Change the blend mode to screen. Change it to white. Okay. Distance is going to be very minimal, so let's make it like a 2, maybe a 3. This size is going to be 1. And let me go back to the gradient overlay. I'm going to lower the opacity down. That looks good, but before I continue with any other layer, I'm going to change its color. So let's go ahead and change that color, change it to a black color. Okay, and there we go. Let me go back to the gradient and adjust that gradient. Bring up the opacity a little bit more. That looks good. Maybe set it to screen. Go back to my drop shadow, lower its opacity, turn off global light, of course. Don't need that. Lower its opacity down. And we lower the scale of this gradient to a 90%. Let's see what else do we need to do here. Let me go back to our drop shadow. Let's change this to lighten. Set the distance 3 pixels is fine. Spread 0, and I'll just add to 0. And now the opacity, the drop shadow, I'm gonna leave it like that. Set the angle to 105. Let me see how that looks. That looks good. Hit OK. Confirm my changes. Now I'm gonna add the button symbol. So it's just around the regular rounded rectangle. Just go ahead and select the rounded rectangle and change the radius to 2 pixels. I want to say 3. Let's do 3. Let's zoom in and just add our button onto here. There we go. And now let's change the blending mode to overlay, I want to say. Let's go with lighten. That looks good. Lighten. And now we're going to change some of its stuff. Just double click it to bring up the layer style dialog box. Let's go to its fill opacity. Well, not its fill opacity, sorry. Its stroke color. Let's go to stroke. Set the pixels to 1 and change the color to white. Hit OK, hit OK. And now we're going to center off that shape. So let's Command Control select the shape of our button. And now we're going to change this. Now we're going to go back to our rounded rectangle. Make sure you have it selected. Go to your move tool. And then align it to horizontal center. It should be already aligned, so there you go. Command deselect. Command D or Control D to deselect. Change the layer name to, let's see what I'll name it. I think I'll name it, call it button symbol. There you go. So let's continue. Oops. So let's continue. Now we're going to add the camera. Everything else from here is going to be under our highlight. So let's just make another shape. This is the only shape that's going to be on top of the highlight, and it's the camera shape. So let's go back to our shapes and select our ellipse tool. Let's zoom a little bit in, and now click and drag while holding Shift Alt to make a circle, and just make a tiny circle, and that looks good. That's an 8 pixel by 8 pixel. Set that there. Change the color to black. Okay. And change the name to camera. Maybe we get a little highlight on top to just show to add some depth to the image. So let's just double click on it for the layer styles dialog box. Let's add, I'll say like an inner shadow. So let's see how that goes. Set this to screen. Change it to white. It doesn't look good. Let's just do a drop shadow again. Drop shadow. Set it to screen. White and then screen. Set the distance to maybe 2 pixels. Set the size to 0. And then maybe even, let's go even lower. Let's go like that, 1 pixel. Turn off global lighting. Let's do -90. That looks good. Now let me lower down the opacity of it. You don't want too much detail showing. So 45 is good. Hit OK. So now we're gonna place our background image. You can do a Google. I have already set here, but you can do a Google search and look for that image online. But I already have it here on my desktop, so I'm just gonna go to File, Place, and place that image. And now let's just align it with our guidelines and just size it to the size of our desktop. I'm sorry, to our screen. Hit OK. Let's confirm the changes. And now what we're gonna do is add the little other effects to it. Don't forget to place everything below except the camera under the highlight. And now we're gonna change. We're gonna put in the other elements that belong on the shape. So let's create another. Let's go to our shapes tool, rectangle tool, and just make a small square or rectangle, I should say. Now lower its opacity to 50%. And now we're gonna type in iPad. And the font that is used for the iPad, it is, I believe it to be MyRaid Web Pro, and that's the font we're gonna use. It should come standard with your computer. Most computers have it already. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna select it once more again and correct my spelling. And select it all. Change the color to white. Okay. Move it into place. Zoom in a little bit in. Confirm changes, and I'll just move it around with the move tool with the arrows. That looks good. Now I'm going to add. I'm going to add the time. So I'm just going to put 12 o'clock. 12 p.m. And just put it out there in the center. That looks good. Put that out. And now we're gonna add the little battery. So let's go back to our shapes tool. Go to your rectangle tool. And just make a small shape, a small square. Like that. And the size for this would be a 25 by 8 pixels. Change the color to white. Actually, don't even fill it in. Just reduce its fill to 0. Reduce its fill to 0. And we're gonna add some layer styles to it. We're gonna add a stroke, just a simple stroke. The stroke will do the trick. Set it to 1 pixel. Set it to white. Okay. And okay. And now we're gonna make the inner circle, the inner fill of the square. So maybe duplicate this. Command and Control J. Copy it. And now maybe transform this in. Maybe like that. Hit OK. Change everything from it. Let's just clear out the layer styles of it. So go to layer, layer styles, clear layer styles. And now let's add a color to it of white. Okay. The fill is at 100%. And for some reason, this thing is lagging. It is Photoshop CS6. It's gonna have some bugs. I don't mind. Just for the purpose of this tutorial, you know what we're doing. We're gonna make one more additional element to that battery, and that's going to be the little thing, the little top thing that's on the bump that's on the battery. And for that, we're gonna make we're gonna use a rounded rectangle. So just select that, and let's see how that goes. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit more to add that thing. That looks good, so I'm just gonna set it to white. Hit OK. Now I'm gonna go back, zoom out a bit more. Now I'm gonna do a little Wi-Fi symbol. So let me just go in there and make a new layer. Command or Control N, or just select the little icon here at the bottom of the layers panel. So just do that, and let's go over to our pen tool. Click anywhere. Click next to the iPad lettering, and then Shift click in a straight ahead, and just pull that little handle. We're going to be making a little wave design. Just pull it a little bit, and then let's go to our brush tools. Make sure it's set to 2 pixels or so. Nothing too big, or else it's gonna look awful. So now let's go back to our pen tool. Right click and stroke path. Use your brush tool, and we need to set the color to it. Make sure it's white. Stroke path, and yes, there you go. You got the little wave. And now Command and Control H to hide everything. So just Command and Control H, and we're gonna duplicate that same layer. Command and Control J. Select your move tool. Bring down that other. Bring down the wave. Transform it. Make it smaller. Like that, and then just center it off. Just align it. Now this wave is not as good as I wanted it to be, but you get the picture. So let's just now add the little square on the bottom. Alright, I think it needs one more. So Command Control J again, transform it, make it smaller. Let me just lower it down a little bit so I can see what's going on. So just Command Control, and just scale it down more. And then Obviously, you're gonna do you're gonna do yours way better than I'm doing mine's, and just because of this purpose of this tutorial, I'm kind of doing it horridly. But you get the idea. You get the picture. You get where I'm going at. How to do this little wave, the iPad wave thingy. So there it is. And is there anything else I'm forgetting? I believe that's it. Maybe you could just add a drop shadow to the main thing, the main iPad frame. Go to blending options, add a drop shadow to it. Set the blending mode to normal. Opacity to 100%. Turn up global lighting. Set this to 90. And everything seems to look good. So just hit OK. And there you have it, you guys. You have your very own iPad in Photoshop. I don't know why would you want to do this. There's many reasons. Maybe you want it as an icon. Maybe you want it to have it in your designs. You want it for a website. You want it for your projects. I don't know. Maybe you just want to show off to your friends that you know how to make one in Photoshop. Well, there it is. Just made an iPad in Photoshop. Don't forget. So that's the end of this tutorial. But don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click on the like. Show me some love. I need some love. I need some loving. Go and show it to your friends, to your mates, to people who are Photoshop enthusiasts, or those others who like Photoshop but really don't like to do it, but would only like to see Photoshop tutorials. Show it to them. Show it to anybody you can. Anybody who likes photoshopping, anything who likes anything of imagery, any images, making images. Show it to them, and they'll really appreciate. I'll really appreciate it. Help me out a lot, and what I'm going to be doing with this channel. So, thank you guys for being here with me in this Photoshop tutorial, and subscribe, comment, like. If any of you guys who are looking at this video tutorial need a web designer or a web developer, I am a web developer and a web designer. So if you go and visit, look in the about section, which should be on my left, right, I should say. I have the link to my professional website. There you can see my portfolio, and you can contact me, send me an email saying, oh, this is what I want. So please, I'm gonna leave that there, and if you guys need one, just contact me. I also do video editing. That's pretty much it. Video editing, motion graphics, but what I aspire most is web designing and web developing. So until next time, you guys, I'll leave you guys. Peace.